Hey guys, welcome to another week on the mat. So I put up a poll on my Instagram story of what you guys wanted to see this week. So I put up either a deep, slow stretch or just a feel-good flow, and you guys all seem to vote for the deep stretch. So that's what we'll be doing today. So today is really, again, as always, tuning in, listening to your body. But really just allowing the stretch to do its work, not trying to force the stretch, not trying to push it against your body, but really just breathe into it. And we will be sitting in the poses for slightly longer, so a bit more similar to maybe a yin style practice if you've done that before, where we sit in each pose for a couple of minutes and just really let the pose do its work. The less work that you can be doing, the better. So take whatever props you need. Today I'm going to be using my bolster. If you don't have a bolster, just like your bed pillow, even fold it in half so it gives it a bit more height is perfect. Or anything you have, if you have yoga blocks or anything like that, just whatever you feel is going to support you best. But yeah, if you don't have a bolster, a pillow is the next best thing. So grab that and let's get started. So the first position we're going to come into, we're just going to start in a kneeling position, keeping your toes tucked under. So this might become quite strong, especially if you know you have quite a lot of tension in your feet, which most of us do. So we're going to keep our toes tucked, and if at any point you need to, you can have your hands on your thighs and just rock forward and release the tension there. So starting here, relax your shoulders back and down. Close your eyes. Take a moment to just set an intention for your practice. When we do move through these slower, more gentle kind of flows, I do like to set an intention so that I've got something to focus on in my practice. Often in these practices where we aren't quite doing so much and moving through different positions and flowing from here to there, it can be easy for our mind to drift or other thoughts to come back into our mind and distract us. So it's always nice to have an intention, especially with these practices. So take a moment to set your intention and then just start to bring your focus to your breath. If it already feels like there's a lot of tension in your feet, you might like to untuck your toes for a moment and just rock back. And then when you're ready, tucking your toes again. We're going to stay here for about a minute. So like I said, at any point, if it feels like it becomes too much, just take your hands, rock forward, and put more weight into your thighs or onto the floor in front of you. Give your feet a quick release and then come back to it. Good. While we're here, let's take a moment to connect with our breath. As you inhale, lift your shoulders up to your ears, and as you exhale, let them fall down your back. Let's go 2 more times. Inhaling, lifting your shoulders as high as you can. Feel that tension into your traps. And as you exhale, pull them, draw them away from your ears. 1 more time. Inhaling up. And exhaling, pin them back and down. Keep them as far away from your ears as you can. Let's slowly start to move through our head circles again. If it feels like there's too much tension into your feet, release into your thighs at any time. Sitting back and just letting your head roll from side to side. Let's take 3 nice big rolls one way. As we open our head to the sky, take a deep inhale, and as you close through your throat, drawing your chin to your chest, take an exhale. And let's go in the opposite direction. Exhaling, chin to chest. Inhaling as we open through our throat. Good, and slowly coming back to center. Let's release our toes, so untucking them. And just take your hands to plant behind you, or they can plant onto your pillow or your bolster. Toes are untucked, and just lift your knees so you feel that stretch this time into the tops of the feet and the front of the ankles, maybe into the shins as well. Just come into wherever feels comfortable for you. And then coming back up onto your knees. knees. We're going to move into our child's pose. So now let's take our knees as wide as we need to, toes to touch behind. And I like to add a little extra height onto this just so I can get the most out of my child's pose. You might want to just start with your hands on the floor in your regular child's pose if you know you've got really tight hips or you feel like this is a bit of a challenging one for you. Otherwise, I like to elevate my hands or have my wrists resting up onto a pillow, blocks or bolster. And then I'll just let my chest sink between my shoulders. Let your forehead find the ground. You can come up as high as you like if you've got blocks or something you want to stack. But I feel like this is just high enough for me. I can let my chest sink to the ground. And at the same time, I'm thinking about that heaviness into my hips, drawing back towards my heels. And just breathing with every exhale, sending my hips further back, letting my chest drop deeper towards the mat. Remember, we're not trying to force ourselves into any position in this practice. The main thing that we want to do is just relax and release into each position and just really let gravity do the work here. The less we can be doing, the better. And we want to focus on not just that muscle stretch that we might get in a flow class, but we want to focus on really releasing and relaxing our fascia as well. So that white encasing of our muscles takes a little longer to stretch it out, so it's where we're spending a bit more time in each position. And with every breath, can you let your body sink a little deeper into the position? Or just notice maybe where you hold tension. For me, I feel it a lot in my hips here. For you, it might be through your chest and shoulders. So wherever you do feel the most tension, just really trying to focus on directing that exhale breath, that relaxing, releasing breath, to that space in your body. Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Can you lengthen your breath as long as you can on that inhale, and then match it on the exhale. One last inhale, and a deep exhale. Nice and slowly and gently making your way off your bolster and coming back up onto all fours. Tuck your knees back into center, and we're just sitting on the backs of our heels, so toes are untucked. From here, staying where you are, we're just going to take a deep breath in, reaching up to the sky. Can you pin your shoulders back and down? And as we exhale, find the ground with your right hand, or if it's too far, find your bolster or your block. And with your left hand reaching over, bending into that right elbow. And let's make sure that our left shoulder isn't dropping, so keep your body up tall. And if it helps, I like to look under my arm so I know my top arm isn't dropping and relaxing to the center. As you inhale, coming back up. Lengthen, shoulders away from our ears, create the space. And as you exhale, left hand finds the ground or your bolster. Right hand reaches over. Feel that lengthening down the right side of your body. Can you pin your right hip down and reach through your right arm? Again, if you feel that top shoulder collapsing to the front, twist to look up towards the sky. Good. Let's take one more on either side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, right hand finds the ground. Left hand reaches a little further this time. Look up to the ceiling. Inhale back to center, shoulders pull away from your ears. And exhale, left hand finds the ground, right hand reaches. Find length down the side of the body and look to the ceiling. Inhaling up one more time. And as we exhale, coming onto all fours. Let's take a few rounds of our cat-cow, spreading through your fingertips. Knees under our hips, toes are untucked. As we inhale, tap the tailbone, lift it to the sky. Relax through the core, shoulders back and down, looking up to the ceiling. And as we exhale, rounding through the spine, pressing into all fours, drawing your belly button in and let the head and neck relax. Inhaling up. And exhaling, curling over. Let's take one more round. Inhaling, opening through the chest, pull the shoulders away from the ears. And as you exhale, completely rounding through your spine. And coming back to all fours. Good. We're going to come onto our bottom now. And we're just going to take a reclined butterfly. So take your bolster to line up along your spine. I like to have mine tucked right into the back of my hips, but it might feel more comfortable for you to have it further out. Like I said, if you're using like your bed pillow or something, fold it in half so it gives you a little bit of height as well. Or if you've got like a long pillow that kind of resembles a bolster, you can use that. Soles of the feet together. You can bring them in as close or have them as far away as feels comfortable for you. Let your knees just fan out. And as we exhale, we're slowly going to recline onto the bolster. Just let your spine line up with the bolster, make any adjustments you need. Good. We're going to start with our arms out wide. And just focusing here again on our breath, on any sensations in your body where you feel the most tightness. Perhaps it's through your hips, into your hip flexors as your knees fan out. Perhaps it's through your chest, that's where I'm feeling it the most today. Notice how your breath feels while we do just a tiny back bend. And again, reminding yourself that we're not forcing our body into any positions today. It should feel like you're relaxing, releasing, and letting gravity do the work. Can you breathe deep down into your belly? From here, we're slowly going to move our hands more from a T position into that Y position. So you don't have to bring it much higher from the T position, but just slightly closer towards the top of your mat. And you'll already start to feel a different sensation through your chest, maybe through the front of your shoulders. Again, take as many pillows or as much support as you need. If you need to put any support under your knees as well, if you feel like they're fanning too far open. Take a scan over your body, notice where there's the most tension. As you inhale, direct the breath there, and as you exhale, let it release. Slowly moving your hands over your head. I like to grab onto opposite elbows here and just let my arms hang, opening through the chest slightly more, or you might just have them hanging overhead, whatever feels good for you. Notice the stretch into your lats. Notice the opening of your chest. How does it feel as your breath moves down your body? Can you keep directing your breath towards your belly? Notice how your knees and your hips feel here. Can you relax them closer to the ground with every exhale? Let's take 3 more deep breaths here. And then slowly start to lengthen out through your legs. Extending your legs, pointing and flexing your toes. Let your arms fall back down by the sides. And nice and gently heeling yourself off the bolster exactly the same way as we came into it. Good. From here, we're just going to take a gentle forward fold. So as you inhale, reaching up. And as you exhale, relax over your legs. Try and creep your fingertips away from you on that inhale, lengthening through the top of the head. And as you exhale, bending through the elbows, feeling that lengthening, that stretching through the lower back and the hamstrings, maybe even the calves. Take one more inhale here. And exhaling back up to center. Good. Move your bolster out of the way for the moment. And let's cross over our legs, tuck our toes under, and make your way into your downward dog. Spreading through your fingers, sending your hips up to the ceiling, and just pedaling out the feet. Pressing into the hands, drawing one heel to the ground and then the other. Maybe lifting both heels and then drawing them towards the mat. Lift the bum, drop the chest. Completely pressing into our hands. Taking one more inhale here. And on your exhale, start to walk your feet to the front of your mat. Good. Stepping them out nice and wide. We're going to come into our squat now. So as you exhale, sink your hips down, hands to your chest. We're going to press our knees out with the backs of our arms, our elbows. If you would like here, if you want that extra support, you can come and bring your bolster under your bum and focus on that pressing out, lifting through the chest. If you prefer, just hold in your squat position, that's perfectly fine as well. But we're always focusing on lengthening out of our hips, lengthening through the top of our head, and pressing our knees out, opening through our hips. Thinking about pulling your chest forward through your legs. And coming back to your breath. If you've been holding in your squat and it feels like too much or it's becoming too much in that position in your hips, you might like to start to bring that bolster under, just for the last few moments while we sit here. Again, always focusing on drawing our shoulders back and down, lifting through our chest, head and neck. Notice how your feet feel here. Notice if you're rocking to the insides or the outsides of your feet. Can you get them fully grounded? Really clawing and spreading through all 10 toes. Let's take one more inhale here. And as we exhale, hands find the mat and lift your bum towards the ceiling. Move your bolster out of the way if you need. And let's just relax into a wider leg forward fold. So that same distance that you had your feet apart for your squat, just keeping them there. Hips are lifted, grabbing onto opposite elbows or folding your arms, and just letting them dangle side to side. With every exhale, can you relax that upper body, let it lengthen out of the hips. Release your hands to the mat. On your inhale, find that half lift. And then we're going to plant our hands out in front of us, just as far as you can reach them, keeping your feet fully planted. Drop your head and neck like you would if you're coming into your downward dog. And pull your hips back. So now we're in that wide-legged forward fold, but we're reaching to the front of our mat. Pull your hips towards the back of the mat. Feel the lengthening through the upper body, the lats, out of the hips. Feel that deep stretch down the backs of the legs. Good, let your hands fall back in line with your feet. And we're going to keep our right foot in that wide leg, in that wide position. Step your left foot all the way back. Drop the back knee. And from here we're going to come into our lizard lunge. So keep that right foot nice and wide. And just letting your hips sink and relax here. So again, we want to take as much effort for us out of the position. So if we've got our bolster handy, rather than holding ourselves up on our hands, we can bring our bolster around and just relaxing here. Let your head and neck hang. We want to take all the effort out of the position. Notice the tension. Notice if you rock to one side or another. Try and get yourself nice and balanced. But at the same time, if your body wants to move into a position, listen to it. We don't want to force our body into any poses. We want to work with our body. Can you shift your head and neck from side to side as you let it dangle? Taking 3 more full breaths here. Nice and slowly coming up onto your hands. And we're going to shift it back into our downward dog. Pedal out your feet just a few times. Shift into your hips. Maybe make that a bit more dramatic. So you get a stretch down the sides of your hips as well. And then when you're ready, we're going to take our lizard lunge on the opposite side. So step that left foot out nice and wide to the edge of our mat. Drop the right knee. And then come to find a comfy position. Maybe bring your bolster or your pillow back under your arms. If it feels completely different on both sides, that's so fine. We obviously all have imbalances and stuff that we're working with. So just listen to each side as though it's a completely different position. Try and take as much effort as you can out of the pose. So if you're holding your head and neck up, just let it relax. Let it fall to the ground, dangling side to side, releasing the neck while we're here. If it feels like it starts to become quite uncomfortable, you can take yourself out of the position by coming up onto your hands, releasing a bit of tension through your hips, or just even bringing your focus back to the intention that you set at the start of the class. Taking your mind away from what you're doing and bringing it back to that focus. Bring it back to your breath. And let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Every exhale, releasing again. Relaxing through the hips, releasing a bit of tension. Maybe even into our shoulders. One last inhale. And a final exhale. Gently coming up onto our hands. Move your bolster away. And we're slowly going to extend that left leg back behind and find your way onto your belly. Take your hands to rest in front, and we're just going to roll out through our forehead, side to side. Good. When you're ready here, taking your hands slightly wider. So we did our seal pose last week if you followed along with that class. So it's kind of similar to our upward dog or our cobra, but we're taking our hands slightly wider and our fingertips point slightly away from us. Gently starting to come up into your seal pose. Roll your shoulders back and down. And we're just going to take a few rounds rolling out our head here. So you can come up as high as feels comfortable for you. If coming up onto your elbows is enough into your lower back, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, I like to get nice and deep into my back here, if it allows. Again, roll your shoulders back and down, pressing gently into our hands. And rolling out your head and neck, just like we did at the start of the practice. As we inhale, we open through our throat. And as we exhale, bringing your chin to your chest. Inhale, open the throat. Exhale, chin to chest. One more round. And then let's take it the opposite way. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhaling, opening. Exhale, down. Inhale, open. Notice if your shoulders are coming to your ears. Try and draw them back and down. Last one. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, open until we meet back at center. From here, releasing your belly back to the mat. Taking your arms nice and wide into a Y or T position. Dropping your right ear to the ground. We're going to lift our left leg to the ceiling. Draw our heel into our bum. And then flip that leg over. So I find it a much nicer stretch into my right shoulder if I creep my fingertip up more into that Y position. And then I might bring my left hand in front of my face to just gently press me away and deepen that stretch. Of course, just meet your body where it is today. If you can, we want to try and get that back leg or back foot to work towards meeting the ground. If not, you can pop your bolster, pillow or whatever if you want a bit of stability, or you can just let it hang there. So openings through our hips, through our right shoulder. Always coming back to our breath. Nice and gently rolling back to center on your mat. And let's take the opposite side. So take your arm into that wide position. Lift your right leg. Draw your left ear to the mat. Right heel into your bottom. And then flip it over. So you might just let your leg hover here, or you might try and find the ground, whatever feels good for you. With my right hand, I'm going to plant it in front of my face and just gently push the ground away. If it's already quite a tough stretch for you or an uncomfortable position, I might just let that hand relax and not try and deepen the stretch and add more to it. Continuing to breathe deep down into our belly. Taking 3 more full breaths here. One more inhale, and a full exhale as we gently release back to the ground. Good, bring your hands back to plant in front of you and just rock and roll your head side to side. Good, nice and slowly. We're going to make our way into our Savasana, so you can just flip yourself straight over. If you're using a bolster, you might want to pop it underneath the backs of your knees, just to take a little tension off your lower back as well, and make it nice and extra restorative. Open your palms by your side, just let your body completely release and relax into the ground, allowing your body to melt into your mat. And as always, this is often where the magic happens. So try not, as soon as the video ends, to rush off and do the next thing. Try and allow yourself to stay here, to melt into your mat, to soak up all the goodness of your practice today. Remind yourself of that intention you set at the beginning, and keep that at the forefront of your mind. Staying here for as long as you need today, or as long as you can. And thank you guys for joining me for another week on the mat. I can't wait for our next practice again next Sunday. I'm going to try and continue to upload a video every week. So if you don't follow on Instagram, follow there, because then you can suggest or vote each week for what kind of practice you want to see. Otherwise, of course, just comment below what you want to see, and I will try and do all the video requests that I'm getting. So if you liked today's class, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who you think might benefit from it. Or even better, just do it with one of your friends. Thank you guys so much for practicing with me. Namaste. And thank you for showing up for yourself, your body, your mind, and your breath. Have a lovely new week. Thank you guys.